Hello, my name is Jacob Wolf. I'm 26 years old, and I'm going to share my story about my suicide attempt and also my testimony from what happened when I did attempt suicide and pretty much how I'm here today. So, September 11th, 2013, after months and months and months and months and really years of internalized hatred and pain that I really couldn't handle anymore by myself, I attempted suicide. It was 5 days after my 19th birthday, and I know that a lot of people, and also this is going to be, hopefully there's like something on here that like lets people know, that they need to be of a certain age or something like that, because I don't want, like, not necessarily like little kids, but I want the parents, if you are a parent of a trans kid, I want you to just be aware, of the things that, kids have going on inside of them, and just be aware that not every trans kid gets to that point where they want to attempt suicide, but a lot of them feel like they don't belong, and so they feel like they don't belong here, and so they maybe want to die. Unfortunately, that's just the honest truth about what happens, because we live in a world that's very like, you're either a man or you're a woman, and then a lot of people judge people off of the sex they were born, and then unfortunately, all of these physical attributes that really have nothing to do with anything, because there are also people out here who are intersex, and I highly recommend you, if you're a person of a trans kid, or somebody in church or who believes in God and somehow stumbled across my video, or maybe if somebody who doesn't believe but you have had some like internal struggles or something like that with with God in the church especially, I want people to know that like trans people have always existed. We've always been here, just like gay people. We didn't really have the kind of language and stuff like that we do now, and I can understand how there's an explosion of all of this information, and it feels like people are being brainwashed into somehow being like, oh, it's just a trend, being trans is a trend, or being gay is a trend, but we're not. We've always been here, and one really huge thing that I'm going to get to in this video is just listen. Okay, so I attempted suicide September 11th, 2013. Everything that was leading up to it, I made peace with, I'm never going to be loved for who I truly am. I am never going, I felt like I was an abomination. I felt like I was going to go to hell, that God didn't love me, that God didn't accept me or love me, and that I was unworthy and undeserving of going to heaven, or not even going to heaven, because I was never going to make it there, but I was just doomed, and I didn't deserve to be here at all. I didn't deserve to exist. I was a waste of a person that somebody else who was straight, who was, was going to get married and have a bunch of kids. Like, that's how, what was like, it just just sat with me, and it was just too much for me to handle. So I know also that this is going to be, a lot of people really think that people that attempt suicide, especially by taking pills, are weak, but I want you to know that that's really hurtful, and that's really painful to tell somebody that does take that kind of route and that doesn't shoot themselves. I thought about it. Like, those were absolutely thoughts that crossed my mind. It's not that I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to get a gun, and I didn't want to have guns around me, because I don't like guns. I really don't. I don't like the fact that like people like, it sucks, but there are people out there that do unfortunately have guns, and it's a lot easier for them to do that, but that's just not something that I wanted to do. I could have gotten in front of a train because there's one close to my house, but I didn't want to do that either. And there are all these different things, but I chose to take pills. And I took a lot of them, and I only took like that much water and like 180 pills. I hadn't eaten for 3 days. It was disgusting, and I never, ever, ever want anybody to do that. I do not want anybody to get to that point, which is why I'm making this video. I want any kid out there who's trans and any parent out there who has any kind of time to listen to other people that have been through something, especially people that do believe in God, to really truly learn about who God is, because I found out that day. So when I attempted, I, you know, I my mom, she had made me and my brothers some hamburgers and fries and made the works, like had like a whole buffet thing like set up for us. It was amazing. And she kept telling me that, like, hey, dinner's almost ready, dinner's ready, hey, you want me to get you and bring you your food? And then I was like, I didn't want her to do that, like, and like worry. She's so amazing and so kind, and I didn't want her to, and so I did get up, and I went to the bathroom because I felt lightheaded, and as soon as I got to the bathroom, I collapsed by the toilet, and she went in there, and then I mustered up the strength to go out into the garage and tell her that, hey, I just took a bunch of pills. And so she got in the car, got me a vomit pan and a washcloth, and took me to a local hospital here. And when we got up there, I was just all of a sudden like, it was kind of crazy. And I know that I did end up telling somebody about it, which is another thing. I could have not had any help and not said anything and just said, no, I'm good, I don't want to do anything, but I did. And so when I did that, I was in a wheelchair. They rolled me to the back and got me in a room, and they were hooking me up, to the heart monitor and stuff like that. And then the doctor was like, nurse was like saying my name and stuff like that. And then my mom said, he goes by Jake, like his name is Jake. And so she wrote that on the chart, which was awesome. But it was also like that's awesome, but like I don't want to be here. Like I was praying to die, like pretty much from like the whole time we were there, and even before I took the pills, I was praying that, like, I know this is gonna hurt people, but I just didn't want to be here anymore. And so there was a doctor that came in, and when she started to come in the door, because I remember her, and she was with another doctor who was telling my mom that, like, there's nothing that we can do to reverse this. Like, there's no pills that we can really use for it, and he's just gonna have to wait and see what happens. And they couldn't pump my stomach or anything because I hadn't eaten in like 3 days, and there was like, they couldn't do anything that way. So all of a sudden, though, what I hear though is the song called Soul Meets Body by Death Cab for Cutie. It's a really great song, and it was my life at that moment, like, for real. Like, I hadn't listened to it in years, but it just started playing, and I don't know if it was on the intercom, which was kind of wild for it to be playing, but I just heard that song like clear as day. Like, I couldn't really hear and make out what that lady was saying, but I did like tune it out, and like, I asked her, do you hear that song? That Soul Meets Body, like Soul Meets Body. Like, it was so strange. And she pretty much told me that, like, I have a disease and that I'm sick, and that, depression's a disease and all of this stuff. And it's like, that's, I mean, okay, but like, you also got to understand that, like, when somebody, if you're a doctor and like any kind of medical profession, or somebody that's dealing with somebody that is trying to attempt suicide and die, or has any kind of feelings like that, I understand that, like, doctors are trained to not really like put themselves in like a certain situation where they're like emotional towards people, and that's how they're able to be tough and go into situations that are very like traumatic and stuff like that. But I really hope that, someday that they can work on that and have some like empathy and care for other people, because it's not easy, getting to that point where you want to die. And so pretty much, then she left. Thank goodness. Like, I never saw her again. And, and all of a sudden, though, I'm just shaking really bad. And then I really start to like lose my speech. And so I told my mom as much as I could that I love her. And then I wasn't really able to speak. Like, I couldn't speak at all. I could barely see the lines in my hands. I could barely see them at all. And so, I was like, okay, like, I can't speak anymore. Like, I was just praying, dear Jesus, Heavenly Father, like, please let me go. I was praying to die. I was just saying that I was sorry that I failed him, that I, in me doing this, like, I'm sorry that I, like, wasted his time with creating me, and that, like, that I just failed. I felt like I failed. I felt like, but I was just like, I do love people, and I'm not happy here. I don't belong here. I don't want to be here anymore. And then a little bit after that, like, I just was super sleepy, and so I would just close my eyes, and then I felt like my soul was leaving my body, and then all of a sudden, um, uh, there was it was really wild. Like, um, so pretty much, I felt my soul leaving my body, and it went back, and the heart monitor thing was going off, and they were like shaking me and said that I need to keep my eyes open. And then I did it again, and I did it 5 times, and then on the sixth time, or like before the sixth time, like, I was just like, please God, let me go. Like, I love everybody. I really hope that like everything works out for them, but I just don't want to be here anymore. And so on the sixth time, I felt my soul leaving my body, and then I felt it come back, but it was like I was wrapped up in love. I felt like I was wrapped up in love, the like genuine love and care. Like, all the pain that I'd ever been through in my life was gone, and it just shocked me. It shocked me so much. And somebody recently said that I was God-smacked, which was, I never thought of it that way. But another thing is that my grandma and my mom, they always told me that God wraps his heavenly arms around people. And I felt that. And, all the times that I'd ever heard, God hates you, that God, like, you're an abomination, that you should just go kill yourself, and that, like, nobody's gonna love you and stuff like that. Like, that stuff hurt, and that stuff was so like engraved in me, and I felt that about myself to a certain extent. Like, I felt like I was unworthy of love, because I just felt like and I felt guilty, and I felt like I just like nobody wanted to be around me. My family didn't want to be around me. I disgusted them. Like, I just felt like, why would I want to be here if I can't be who I am? Because I'm not trying to hurt anybody. And, and I just felt all of that. And then it's not like I heard this like deep voice like in movies or anything like that, but I just, it was like my voice, but it was just like, hey buddy, I know everything you've been through, and I want you to know that you are loved and you're cared about. You are not a burden. You are not a mistake. That there are things that you need to work through, and you need to like heal from, and because you've been hurting people because you've been hurt, and that's not okay. Like, that's gonna get you to go to hell. But you being trans, and you being true to who you are, and like, that's not something that God looks at. Like, that is something that like isn't that's not something that like God looks at and he's like, oh no, I don't pick you. Like, I don't think that you're deserving of love. And it was just like, you know, you're meant to be here. It's not your time yet. There are people out here who are going to love you. And that just like shocked me. And then it was just like you're not alone. Like, I'm with you. And that just like, I never heard anything like that in my life. And I know this is a lot, but like, I just want to put this stuff out here to kind of share my story, because in the 7.5 years that it's been since I attempted, there's been so many beautiful blessings that I've had in my life that I owe it all to God for. Like, I would not be here if it wasn't for Him. And I know that there's a lot of churches who traumatize kids, and a lot of, people that do. And I can understand where people are coming from to a certain extent. But I just want to say that, like when people say that God loves us for who we are, God loves trans people. God created trans people. There are people who are intersex. There are people who are gay, and they're being turned away. And, I went to a private school. I went to a private Seventh-day Adventist Christian school for 6 years. And, it's sad that places like that aren't loving and accepting. And it's not that they don't try to be, but it's just like they didn't have people there that really dug deep and really knew people like me, and that really had somebody be as outspoken as I am now. And that's why I want to share that too, because there are a lot of anti-trans bills, and there are a lot of people in churches and in homes, even if they don't believe in God, that don't accept trans kids and kids in general. And it's scary talking about this. It's scary kind of sharing your story, because I've debated on doing this again, because but I just really wanted it to be real, and I wanted to share it because we never know what's going to happen. We never know what's going to happen. I definitely have people in my life, unfortunately, who are not accepting, and it's not that them not accepting me is something that's weighing necessarily heavy on my heart, in a certain sense of I'm not going to let that stop me from being kind and loving to others. But I do want to share that, because I believe that it's important for people to know that they are loved and cared about for who they are. Because for so long, I felt like I wasn't worthy of love, that I wasn't worthy of God's love. And that you are so worthy. And you're here for a reason. And there are a lot of different things that go on. And if anybody ever wants to reach out to me and actually talk to me and have a conversation and is respectful about about my views on God and how God has helped me, because I seriously would not be here without God. I wholeheartedly believe that. That day that happened, and every day since, I've just been blessed with another day of life, because I really seriously could have died. And it's not that I haven't felt depressed or anxious or anything since then, but I've been able to make it through those times with God's help. And I just want to share that with other kids, because I know that there are a lot of kids out there that are struggling, and a lot of parents that feel like they don't know what to do. And I just really want people to know that there are people out here who do understand. And even though we're not able to control what happens today or tomorrow, and all we have right now, this is what I want to do with my time while I'm here. And I want to share that kind of love and care with other people, because I feel like it's important, and I feel like it's why I'm here. And again, I know it's scary to be who you are. It's really scary when people learn about you, when they think that they know you, but they don't take the time to really know who you truly are, because they have these ideas of who they believe you are and who you should be. But there are people out here who are going to love you and care about you, and want you to see you happy and grow and have a beautiful life, not just here, but just to be kind and loving and have like just love, like, you know, not all of this fake love bullcrap that's like just everywhere nowadays. Like everything, it just seems like just so sad to me that people waste their energy and stuff on that. But I just really want to put out there though that God created trans people, God created gay people, God created me. I am a living person out here in the world, and I'm not the only one. You know, we've always been here, and I just want to let you know that God does accept you, that God created you, and that you are not, like, you know, if you were to, you know, I know I'm not trying to shove God down anybody's throats or anything like that, because that's one of the things that I feared, which is why I haven't really made any videos, because I know, you know, once people start hearing about God, they just instantly stop listening. But I just want to share what God's done for me. If I'm going to do anything in my life, that's what I want to do. It's because it's worth it. And you're worth it. And you're worth knowing that before, you know, the whole world ends and all of that stuff. Or you go another day feeling like, you know, you don't belong here and that you're not worthy of love and care. I just want to throw that reminder and that love out there to let you know that you are. So yeah, thank you so much for taking your time to listen to this. I could seriously go on forever about it because it's something that I'm so passionate about, and it's something that's just so important to me. But I really just, yeah, just please know that God does love and accept trans people, that he created them, that he created intersex people, and he created gay people, that we are not an abomination. And I can't say who's going to hell or not because I am not the judge of anything, but I do want to just put that out there, that God did not make a mistake with gay people and trans people. And, you know, just that love, like, I've felt what love really feels like, because at my lowest point when I was literally praying to die, like, I felt it. And all the pain that you'd ever felt, like, it was gone. Like, and there was a lot of pain there. And I just, yeah, just so much love to everybody. Be kind and love to everybody. Just much love. I love you all. Bye.